Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to Math Ustadh. This is lesson 2 for cone surface area, year 10. So to move on this. Okay, so we have our independent task I gave you for last lesson, and these are the 3 questions I wanted you to do. So we're going to go through the answers right now. I'm going to give my answers in terms of pi because it's going to take long just to work out the 2 decimal places. So question number 1, we have radius equals 5. We have the length equals 12. We're just going to plug into the equations of pi times 5 squared plus pi times 5 times 12. That should give us 25 pi plus 60 pi equals 85 pi centimeters squared. That's your answer for question number 1. Question number 2, our radius is going to be half of 16, which is 8. Length is going to be 35. So let's plug it into the equation. We got pi times 8 squared plus we got pi times 8 times 35. Have this equation over here. So 64 pi plus our calculator 8 times 35 82 pi. Altogether that should give us 345 centimeters squared. That's our answer for question number 2. If we've gone 2 decimal points, it should be fine, but just for giving in terms of pi. Question number 3. So our next question has a radius of 350 meters and the length is 5 kilometers. We have to convert everything into either meters or kilometers. I'm going to use kilometers because I don't want to work with a lot of zeros and big numbers. It makes it easier to get it down rather than going up. Let's turn radius into kilometers. So 300 divided by 1000 gives us 0.35. That's our radius. So kilometers. My length would be the same, 5 kilometers. So let's plug into the equation. Pi times 0.35 squared brackets plus pi times 0.35 over here, pi times 0.35 length, which is 5 kilometers. Now when I want to put it into calculator, I'll get the following. I took use 2 decimal places because I think the calculator is going to give me in terms of pi 0.35 times 5 squared, close brackets, offsets, open brackets. Always put brackets into your calculators because your calculator sometimes mistaken what to do first. So be very careful when it comes to these things, putting brackets in. So this is our final answer. Okay, so we can say 749 over 400 pi, or we can say 5.88. I'll stick to 5.88, it's easier. Kilometers squared. Okay, so that's our surface area for our last question. Okay, to proceed, we're going to go through examples a bit more different. So find the surface area of the solid. So remember, if this is a full solid, that means we don't have a base. So all what we have is the following. We're going to have pi RL, and in the equation we used to have pi r squared, but we're not going to have that anymore. We're going to have pi r L, and because we've got two cones, we're going to times it by 2. So my r is going to be 8, my length still 22. So I'm going to plug it into the equation. 2 brackets pi times r, which is 8, times L, which is 32. I can put into my calculator. So I have 2 open brackets pi times 8 is 35, close brackets, and give me 560 pi 500 centimeters squared. Also can also give me the other answer, which is 1759. We can just round up to 1759. The decimal point as well, just in case. I think we lost the calculator. So centimeters squared. It's always a good practice to write it into 2 decimal places. So make sure 2 decimal places comes to your exam. Yeah, so these are the 2 answers. But make sure you write, if you write into decimal places, make sure you have 2 decimal places. Go to question number 2. It says find x. Okay, this time we're given the surface area and we need to find x. So we're going to do the reverse. Again, we write down the equation first. You don't get confused. This is the equation for the surface area of cone. Now we can just substitute 75.4, or we can substitute 24 pi into the surface area. The reason why I substituted 24 pi, because I can see that things are going to get cancelled out. Makes things a lot more easier. I can do it equal to pi. My radius is 2 squared times 2 squared brackets plus pi times 2 x. This is what we're trying to find out, the x. Okay, so now what we can do is we can divide everything by pi. So we divide everything. So let me just write this like this. We can divide everything by pi. And when we do that, this cancels out, this cancels out, this cancels out. And it really simplifies things down for us. So our new equation would be 24 equals 4 pi plus 2x. And so I can just make x a subject. So if I want to make x a subject, I have to get rid of the number that's furthest away from me, opposite of bidmass. So that's the addition we need to get rid of first. In order to get rid of the addition, we have to do minus 4 minus 4. These 2 cancels out, and I'm left with 20 equals 2x. And so to get rid of the 2 in front of the x, I need to divide this by 2, divide this by 2. These 2 cancels out. I'm left with 20 divided by 2 gives me 10. So my x is 10 centimeters. X equals 10 centimeters. Okay, last question. A sector of a circle is drawn. The radius of the circle is 9 centimeters, and the angle inside the sector at the center is 240. The circle is folded to make a cone by pushing the 2 radii together. This shape, as you remember the major sector, it becomes a cone when you push the 2 radii together. Calculate the surface area of the cone, okay, including the base. Okay, so first and foremost, for the actual cone, so the area of the cone we know is the following. We know that this is the, just by looking at this major sector. So the major sector is going to be the following, which is, so because 240 is the angle we have, we're going to be using this as a fraction. So 240, we got to have 240 degrees out of 360, because the whole circle is 360. So this is the fraction we're going to be using. is how much part of the circle we have. So we're going to multiply it by pi r squared. So pi times r, which is our 9 squared. And when we do that, this should give us the following. Let's get the calculator out. Okay, the calculator is not here, so let me just do it on my calculator here. 240 divided by 360 times pi times 9 squared. That should give us area of 169.65 centimeters squared. Okay, so that's our area of the cone itself. Now, to find out the radius of the cone, so when this major sector becomes a cone, we have to really understand what that really means. So our whole circumference of this major sector, so the circumference of major sector is going to be, in terms of fraction, it is 240 over 360, because that's how much we have of a circle, times 2 pi r. So this is our circumference of the major sector. It's going to be equal to the 2 pi r. So we can call this 2 pi. The r itself over here is 9. So let's do times 9. And we have the r that we need to really find out. So this is the missing thing that we need. So because we know the circumference that is on the outside of the, let me just use my pointer instead. We know that the circumference of this major sector would be equal to the circumference around the cone. So that's how I got this. So let's move on. Let's work this out. Okay, so when we simplify this, we should get 340 divided by 360 times 18 pi, 2 pi r. So what we can do to both sides is we can divide both sides by pi, because we've got multiplication there, we can say that everything is multiplied by pi, and same thing in this section over here. So divide everything by pi, we should get the following. I'm gonna carry on working here because of lack of space. So I'm gonna get the following: 240 divided by 360 times 18 equals 2r. So now, if I were to work this out on a calculator, I would do the following: 240 divided by 360 times 18 gives me 12. So this gives me 12 with 2r. So to get rid of the 2 from the r, I need to divide this by everything by 2. This cancels out, and my radius of the cone is 6. So 2 divided by 12 gives us 6 centimeters. So for me to now find the area of the circle is quite simple. The area of the base of the cone itself, so which is pi r squared. Pi times r squared. This is the area of the circle. And so all I'm going to do is plug r into there, substitute it. So I'm going to have now pi times 6 squared, which gives me 36 pi, which is also equivalent to centimeters squared, which is also equivalent to 6 pi is 113.1 squared. So now we have the two different surfaces, 113.1 and 169.65. So in total, we're going to add, so total surface area equals 169.65 plus 113.1 gives us the following. So let me just change the color so you can see that this is the main thing that we work out. This color, brighter. I could do that plus 169.65, and that gives me a total surface area of 282.75 centimeters squared. So that's your total surface area. If you do have any question in regards to this question, so this is the hardest a surface area cone question can probably get, and I will be going through more questions if you need to. If you want some help in regards to this question itself, please to comment, make a mention of it in the comment section. As for the next part, I want you guys to have a go at these questions. So this is independent task. This is exactly the same questions that I did as an example, but I've just changed the numbers around. I want you to have a go at these questions. Give yourself 5 minutes. I would say give yourself 10 minutes to do these questions. Pause the video, give yourself 10 minutes to do these questions. In the next lesson, inshallah, we'll go through the answers. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.